Hello.
Hello.
All right?
Yeah, I'm all right. You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. You all right?
Great. I'm all right. I'm actually all right.
Everyone all right?
Everyone's all right.
Great. I've got a nice, easygoing story today.
Have you?
Yeah.
That's
Need it.
great news.
Need a bit of an easygoing story. It was just something that I was like, oh, actually, I had no idea about that. I wonder what others are like that. So then I started looking into it.
All right. That's intriguing. I've just thought I haven't got a random
Yes.
blam, so I thought while you're talking, I'm just going to sneakily have a little look to find one. And I
Oh,
literally just opened Google and I've typed in blam.
yeah, I know. We do it every time, every single
God's
week.
sake.
We do that. All right. Well, in that case, random blabs, go. Right. Well, if you pick a fun random blam, my random blam is going to be different to our normal. It's not like random fact or anything. It's just something that I wanted to say.
All
And
right.
we have a podcast, so I am able to say whatever the hell I want.
All right then. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's the turn that our season 3 is taking. But no, it was something that happened to me on my way home from work last night. And if you're listening, Lee, I am talking to you as I said I would. So what happened was on my way home last night, I randomly thought, shall I stop and get some drinks? Because I don't think we've got any drinks at home at all. And right at the last minute, there's a service station, petrol station, quite close to where I live. And right at the last minute, I thought, oh, stuff it. I'm gonna go in. And I drove in and there was no one else around. It was mid-evening. Um, no one else in the petrol station. So took my car over. I didn't want to take up room at one of the pumps. So I drove it kind of past the building of the service station, parked, went into the service station. When I went in, the guy that works there is called Lee, and he was very clearly having the worst day. He was very upset. He was very distressed, and he was on the phone when I went in, and I didn't really realize at first. I just picked out a couple of drinks. I was aware that he was on the phone. I got my drinks, took it to the counter, put them on the counter, and he was talking on the phone. And I very quickly became aware that he was crying. He was very, very distressed and very upset. And I'm not going to go into the details as to why he was upset. But I he came off the phone. He was very, very polite, very nice. And he told me about why he was upset. I obviously I asked him, I said, are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help? And I let him talk. I just let him talk. He continuously apologized for being upset, which Lee wasn't necessary. Um, I just want you to know that I appreciate you. And I think it's really important that if people are telling us that they suffer with mental health, um, we need to listen. We
Mhm.
need to hear it. We need to listen. He was telling me that he suffered with his mental health. He told me that he had told people that he suffers with mental health and what they could do to help him. And his needs were not being met, and it was just making his mental health worse.
Yeah.
Um, we need to listen. He continuously thanked me for just stopping and being with him for some time. And I said to him, Lee, we've always got time for the
Mhm.
things that really matter in this life.
Yeah.
we've always got time, and I've always got time for someone that needs help or
Yeah, absolutely.
just needs someone to be there. I spent a bit of time with Lee. We had a chat. He had he had a bit of a vent, which I think he needed. I wish I could have done more. And I said to him, the only thing I can offer you is if you need to take your mind and your brain away from all these day-to-day stresses, I can offer you a podcast, and I'll give you a shout out, let you know that I'm thinking about you. And I am thinking about you, Lee, and I have been thinking about you. And I hope you're doing okay. And I will pop in and see you soon, and I will have time for you. But yeah, so that's my
that's
random
cute.
blam. It's like, let's just show each other a bit more love and care, because people need it. We do.
Yeah.
We all have mental health, and we all manage it in very different ways. And if someone tells us that they need help, and they tell us, like being as brave as Lee to be able to actually say, I suffer with my mental health, this is how you could help.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah.
Like, why are we so self-absorbed that we're like, well, I haven't got time for that? You're not.
We are the
You're
most
not part of my life.
self-absorbed creatures on the planet.
Like, who do we think we are to say to any individual, like,
your needs don't matter?
Yeah, that doesn't suit me. So I'm going to do what I need to do for me, and that's it. It's really self-absorbed. So if we can just take a little bit of time out of our day and help someone, it's the most important thing. So
are you speaking to, is this directed to a certain person that's now running the American country by any chance?
I don't know what you mean.
No. Sounds a bit familiar. Sounds like something he needs to listen to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he has got rid of metal straws, though. Or paper straws. There they are. He did get rid of them, though.
Yay.
Great lad.
Great job. Well done.
Well done.
Yeah.
When it really matters.
Yeah. When it really matters, it comes down to straws. There you go. Yeah.
Oh,
well, there you go. So have you got a fun random blam?
Well, it is a bit random. It certainly doesn't match your random blam, but I found it and I thought, my goodness, I didn't know that.
Oh.
Did you know
No.
it takes pineapples 2 years to grow?
Does it actually?
2 years? 2 years. That's not a profitable business.
No, and then we just chop them up and stick them on our pizza.
Yeah, what a waste. Or we chop them up and then they go brown and we're like, nah.
Don't fancy it. And that pineapple's like, son of a bitch.
It's a bit spicy, that one. It's not a bit spicy.
It's a bit fizzy.
Fizzy.
It's a little bit fizzy. I think I'll leave that.
I chopped up some melon the other day and I was like, that's a bit fizzy, that.
Yeah. Well, luckily you don't live in the house with Claire, who would be like, that's fine, just eat it.
Just eat the fizziness.
Yeah, me and the kids are like, it's fizzy and burny. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my random blam, and it's obviously incredibly random. So 2 years.
We really take for granted some of the stuff that we just like buy in packets and like shove down our face and then go
and waste.
Like cashews. Have you seen the process?
Yes, I've seen the process.
Oh my goodness.
It is a lengthy process.
That it has to be some sort of labour of love or something. Because the process of getting cashews, mad.
Right. Well, let's end the random blams because I want to talk to you about something. So,
all right.
Random blams. Done.
What do you want to talk to me about?
So, me and Josie have been watching this program on Channel 4, and it's called Alone. It's an American-based program in the Alaskan wilderness. Yeah, I said to Claire, make sure you watch it because, my goodness, these people just have to survive in the Alaskan wilderness with nothing. They get to bring like a knife and an axe and a bow and things like that, but they really don't have anything else. And one guy on there has built himself a motherfucking house, and I can't even get over it.
Is it the guy that builds like a chessboard or something? I saw it. I saw it quite a long time ago.
Oh, I don't know. So we've gone from the newest season, and then we're going to watch that and then go backwards.
Oh, it's way before.
He's built himself a house, and it's insulated, and he's built himself like a chimney out of clay that he made from the dirt, and it's just so mind-blowing. Like, some of us can't even function with like putting the kettle on. Oh no, the kettle's broke. Do you know what I mean?
I know. I'm all about it. I love watching these. I forget what it's called.
Like, but survival program.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel that I've been watching for years. I think it's called Primitive Technology. Oh, it's just great. It's just this guy, and like all he's got is a pair of shorts.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, I need like an axe. So he gets this like piece of wood. He uses fire to burn like a hole in the top of this piece of wood. And then he gets like a rock, and he like bashes bits of this rock off to make it sharp, and then he puts it through. And then he's like, all right, now I've made my tool, which would take me about 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'd be dead by then. And he uses this tool to like make all this cool stuff. And I think it's just like you said.
Honestly,
what do we do?
It's really humbling almost to watch these people surviving out in the wilderness, and what they survive on as well, and how they're utilizing every aspect of the land. Like, one guy had a tummy ache, and he was like, oh god, I must have had some like unpurified water, or got a bug or something like that. He just goes finds a birch tree, gets some bark off the tree, boils it, sips it down. He's like, oh yeah, and he already like immediately feels better.
There's just cool.
The land is there, like that's how evolution is, isn't it? Everything was provided by the land, and that's how we've thrived.
Yeah, we've got everything we need, and
all the nutrients, everything is in the earth that we need. And
but most of our problems are caused, like, we weren't meant to smoke. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We weren't meant to, like, get to, well, I mean, maybe we were, but these things that we're doing, and all these additives and preservatives and everything that we're constantly pumping into our bodies.
It's no wonder we haven't gone extinct. It's crazy.
I know, it is actually.
Oh, I don't know how we've not killed ourselves off.
I know, because everything we need is like on this planet.
Yeah.
So why can't we like get back to it? Although if there's an apocalypse, we will be.
Yeah, I'd love that.
I'd love an apocalypse. So I know. I mean, I've just been waiting for it for the longest time.
I know you have. You're ready.
I'm so ready. So ready.
You know what I'm ready for? The episode.
Today's episode.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Morning.
Morning.
Morning, morning.
Morning, morning indeed.
My episode today is called Scary Movies in Real Life.
Oh.
And the thing that brought this episode, and because I've already started on another episode, which is a big episode. So I was doing that, and when you sort of you need breaks from it and that. And I was, I don't know, browsing the internet, looking at different things, and I came across this one little fact, and I thought, no, surely not. That can't be true.
That would be my drag name.
What? Surely not.
Surely not.
Surely not.
I love it.
I can't remember what mine was. What was mine?
Oh, sorry about piss.
Sorry about piss.
Sorry about pissing. Oh,
pissy.
You're always weeing.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's
carry
true.
on.
Yeah, and I saw this fact, and I thought that cannot be true. And what this little snippet was was a certain film that I am very familiar with. And it was like, yeah, blew my mind. I didn't realize it was based on a true story. And I thought, what? There is no way that is based on a true story. So I started looking into it and I was like, well, smack my ass and call me Judy. It is true. And then I went down this rabbit hole and I started finding all these films that are actually based on true stories. And I was like, no way. And then I found a whole load of stories that we have already covered. Like we've already done episodes on it. And I thought, well, do you know what? I'm still going to cover it because people listening may not have heard those episodes. And if they haven't, then they're missing out and they need to know that they're missing out. So I've included some of the ones that we've already covered and just a brief rundown on it so that people can listen to it and go, actually, that story's really cool. And I can say, well, we covered that in episode Blur. And then they can go and listen to it.
Great.
So, yeah, so that's what it is. And I'm going to kick off the stories with the film Annabel. And Annabel is based on a completely true story. The doll Annabel has become a horror icon. And she made her first appearance in the Conjuring 2013. And that's what, when I say first appearance, that's what kicked it off. And she soon became the focus of her own franchise. So there was Annabelle, which was a film in 2014. There was Annabelle Creation, which was in 2017. And then Annabelle Comes Home in 2019. And the true to life story that inspired the film Annabelle was real life legend of the Raggedy Ann doll. And this doll had been gifted to a young nurse as an innocent present. And unsettling events began shortly after she received the doll. A traumatic incident involving the nurse's boyfriend heightened like everyone's fears. I haven't put an episode to this because in my mind, in my fuzzy menopausal brain, I can't remember if we covered it in one of our haunted doll episodes.
I think so.
Dolls bought from eBay. I can't remember. Yeah. I can't remember if it was one of the stories that I started putting notes together for. I couldn't remember. But if not, then it would be a good episode to cover because I do know the story quite well. But there was, with the nurse's boyfriend, there was quite a traumatic incident that happened. They got a medium involved, and the medium revealed that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a deceased 7-year-old girl named Annabel Higgins. The revelation suggested that the doll was not haunted by a cursed demonic force, but which in the film it kind of goes a little bit more into like the demonic side of it. But with the real life doll that was apparently haunted by Annabel Higgins, witnesses reported seeing the doll moving on its own. Strange sounds and eerie occurrences were linked to Annabel. Some claimed that the doll changed positions unexpectedly. It was connected to violent attacks and near-death experiences. It was believed to be a conduit. So although it began as this, haunting by this young girl, it kind of acted as a conduit for this malevolent supernatural energy, or what is it,
malvolent.
Yeah, sorry, I pronounced that wrong. Malvolent energy. The case caught attention of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, who I would love to do an episode just about.
They've got that would be a really good one for you to cover because there is a lot.
There's so many, and in fact, there's going to be more films that I'm going to talk about in this episode that they also covered. The Warrens took possession of the doll for safekeeping, housed in their occult museum in Monroe, Connecticut. Displayed on the glass case was a warning saying, it's so polite, positively do not open.
Oh,
that positively do not open.
You will die.
If you will die. If Perplexed Podcast ever has an occult museum, on the cases will be like, do not fucking open.
What a div.
Yeah.
If you open that.
You're a dick if you open this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the museum wouldn't last long, we'd be dead. So just saying. And the Annabel doll is considered one of the most dangerous artifacts of said museum. But this whole thing, this doll, this tiny Raggedy Ann doll, inspired a wave of horror films and haunted object stories. They came flooding in from all over the place. There was loads of investigation on demonic possession and supernatural terror. Films expand on the doll's backstory and its dark origins. The legend continues to fascinate everyone. Like, I think the Annabelle franchise will go on and on and on. Many critics question the authenticity of Annabelle's haunting.
Me included.
You more than anyone.
I don't think I've seen the film because I'm not.
Just think, nah,
no, thank you. Haunted doll, no.
Well,
that's what I think.
I don't know. I mean, you say that, but then we were freaked out by Robert the doll. Also, another episode that I'm surprised there's not a film about Robert the doll.
There is a film. I'm sure there is.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to look that up. I mean, there was loads more, and I was like, oh, do you know what? It's like I have to make a selection and go with it. Annabelle remains a prominent horror icon. But yeah, it was based on a true story. It was based on a real doll, and people's real actual experiences. So
I think it's based quite loosely on a real
event. No, it's exact.
It's exact. Is it when people were climbing up the walls and stuff?
Exactly how it happened.
I think I have seen Annabelle, but I don't really like the haunted type movies because they're just they get a bit too much. Like when they start doing the whole demonic thing and the voices change and it's
you're saying
they're
that,
crawling backwards up the wall.
You were possessed and your voice changed.
I did get possessed.
Actually, on the episode, we have it recorded.
I did get possessed, yeah.
Yeah. Roland Doe. If you want to hear Sarah get possessed, it was the Roland Doe episode.
Exorcism, yeah.
Yeah, and she was possessed with something for that minute.
That was weird.
That was really weird.
But yeah, I knew that was based off a true story. I think that it's very very, very dramatized.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. We have next, you will recognize this because it was one of our big episodes. But for those of you that haven't listened to episode 36, we have the film that came out in 2018 called Winchester, and it is the mysterious Winchester house, and it's based on Sarah Winchester. And as I said, I covered the story, and it's called The Winchester House, Perplexed, episode 36. If you haven't listened to it, give it a listen because it's bonkers. So in the film Winchester, it stars Helen Mirren as Sarah Winchester. It's directed by Michael and Peter Spirig, and it's based on the absolutely true story of the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. The mansion is best known for its bizarre architecture and alleged paranormal activity. We definitely have to go there one day. That is like a dream of mine, for me and you to actually go to the Winchester house and look round. That'd be amazing. But the story and the history of Sarah Winchester is that she was the widow of William Wirt Winchester, and he was like the owner of the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, so Winchester Rifles. Sarah lost her infant daughter Annie in 1866 to marasmus, which is severe malnutrition, and she lost her husband in 1881 to tuberculosis. She then inherited 50% ownership of the Winchester Company, making her incredibly wealthy. According to legend, a spiritual medium told her that she personally was haunted by the spirits of all those people that had been killed by the Winchester Rifles. The medium advised her to move west and build continuously to appease these spirits. So she was like, all right. So she went west, and she purchased an 8-room farmhouse in San Jose in 1884 and began non-stop construction until her death in 1922. Sarah's home evolved into a bizarre architectural marvel. And certain features include staircases that lead to nowhere, doors that open into walls, secret passageways, trapdoors, windows that had been built into the floor. And some people believe that these strange designs were to confuse spirits. And other people said
she's just batshit crazy.
Yeah, basically. They're just completely random. They're just, she would go in, she would say to the builders that were there constantly, see this wall here, I want you to put a door here. And they're like,
oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay, what do you want on the other side of it? And she's like, don't matter.
Yeah.
Don't matter. I just want a door and I want it to open. And they're like,
that bit of floor there, that looks too large. Window
that you can walk across. It's got actual glass in it. If you walk across it, you'll smash straight through, fall to your death. No, I want that. And then and then a week later, she'd be like, yeah, about that window. And they were like, oh, thank God, you want us to take it out. And she was like, no, but I think you should just maybe put a banister around it. And they're like, oh, righto.
Staircase leading to the window.
Staircase, boom, driveway. And they're like,
we're indoors.
We're 3 floors up. I said doorway. Yeah, so who knows? But yeah, when I say it was bonkers, quick rundown, notable features: 160 plus rooms, 40 bedrooms, 40 staircases, most of them led to nowhere, 13 bathrooms, which obviously the number 13 everyone jumped on and was like, oh, why 13? No one ever got any answers. 6 kitchens, 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 52 skylights, 3 elevators or lifts, 2 basements. I'm not sure how that works. I'm guessing 1 basement over here, 1 basement over there. One single shower. That's it. Not very clean. She had a seance room that was rumored to be where Sarah communicated with the spirits for her building instructions. A $25,000 room named because of its expensive stained glass windows. Since Sarah's death, numerous paranormal reports have surfaced. Visitors and staff have reported seeing ghostly figures, disembodied voices, unexplained cold spots, and some believe that Sarah Winchester's spirit still roams the mansion, and it has been featured on paranormal TV shows such as Ghost Adventures and Most Haunted. You can go and tour the Winchester Mystery House. They do a mansion tour, like they do walkthroughs of the most famous rooms, but you have to stay together, because if you wander off or you get left behind, you could be in there forever. So like I said, if you want to hear more about that, check out episode 36. I very much enjoyed doing that episode.
Yeah, that was a really good episode, actually. Can you imagine the medium that said you need to carry on building to appease these spirits? Can you imagine? She'd be like, "Oh, I didn't think she'd actually do it. It's gone a bit far.
I was only joking.
I didn't think she'd believe me. It's got a bit much now, isn't it?"
I know. Can you imagine? I wonder if she ever went to
Did
that
her husband?
house.
Yeah, I bet her husband owned a building company.
Yeah,
I think we said that. Building. Yeah,
I think we said that on the episode. I think you said that, being like suspicious of everyone.
Yeah, we need to keep building. So I've got someone I recommend.
Spirit said someone called Bob. He lives quite local. I could probably find him for you. In fact, here's his business card. I know. I mean, that's the way forward, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I'm in the wrong business.
Off. Yeah, we need to get on that.
Well, actually, speaking of that, Josie and I yesterday went to a murder trial, and it was like a stage show of a murder trial.
Okay.
And we had no idea what it was going to be like. We just knew it's quite a popular one. It goes all around the UK, and Josie got it for me for Christmas.
Nice.
And we went with our friend Maddie, who will be listening. She listens.
Maddie.
And it was, you walk through the courtroom doors and you obviously go into like the seating area, and on the stage was the courtroom essentially with the prosecution, the defense, and the judge and whatnot. And they said this story is based off a true story, true events, and the names were changed, but it was reenacted, like the prosecution and the defense, what they would have said and things like that. And then, but at the end of it, you had to decide whether the person was guilty or not guilty. However, 5 minutes in, I went, "Oh, I know this story."
No.
I know this story.
Did you actually? Was it one that we'd covered?
It's not one that we've covered, but it's one that we will cover. It's one that you know as well.
Oh, is it?
And it's a very, very good, very interesting story. And
is it an episode that you're more likely to do, or I'm more likely to do?
No, it'll be one that I'll do.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
give me a clue and I'll see if I can guess what it was.
Pam.
Oh, that's a really well-known story.
Well,
I'm
it's
surprised
well known
that they do that.
That's what I thought. It's well known in America because they've got the documentary series with Renee Zellweger now, where we don't have that over here. We can't watch it because it's on like HBO or something.
Oh, no, I've seen that.
Yeah, I know you have. Yeah. I think we was on an airplane or something, and I said to you that there's that Pam documentary is out now in a series.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was that case, but it was still very interesting.
It is still very controversial. There's still people out there that are like, I'm not sure, and I'm like, I am.
Yeah,
I know exactly like what I think about it. I mean, it's tragic, that story. Oh my god, I can't wait to do it. Can you do that soon? Because that's
that's all right. But yeah, so that was we went to a proper trial thing that was really, really good.
Oh, that is good. Did it have like the outcome that you were like happy with?
So we had to, as jurors, we had to cast our vote.
Yeah.
And then it was a majority vote, and the majority voted one way, and then it said the percentage, and the judge was like, we'll go with the majority. And then they read out the majority, and then they played a clip of what actually happened, so you find out whether you're right or not.
Yeah,
it was really, really good.
Yeah, that is good. And did the girls like vote the same as you, sort of thing?
Yeah, we all had the same opinion. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's that's a great, tragic, but really intriguing story. All right. Next one is the film which we haven't covered on the pod. It's a film called Deliver Us from Evil, and it came out in 2014, and it starred Eric Bana as real life NYPD officer Ralph Sarchie. It's inspired by Sarchie's real life experiences investigating supernatural cases in the Bronx. So, who is Ralph Sarchie? I hear you ask.
Who is Ralph Sarchie?
Well, I'll tell you. Ralph Sarchie is an NYPD sergeant who served in the 46th precinct of the South Bronx, a high crime area, I am told. He investigated violent crimes, and then later on in his life, it was involved in a lot of paranormal cases. He went on to study demonology and assisted with exorcisms and hauntings. He co-authored the book Beware the Night in 2001 with journalist Lisa Collier Cool. Lisa Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool name. And in this book, the film Deliver Us from Evil arose. So Sarchie's transition from cop to demonologist, he encountered cases beyond like normal police work. And it then led him to want to explore more of the supernatural, because he was like, I know that this is not people that are doing these things. There's something else. And he worked with Father Malachi Martin, or Malachi. And Father Martin was a Catholic priest and exorcist. Sarchie claimed to witness strange occurrences, but like firsthand. He was like, this is not people that I've spoken to. I've seen this. And he said he witnessed objects moving on their own, unexplained scratches and bruises appearing on his own body. He heard guttural growls and disembodied voices. He said that he witnessed victims displaying unnatural strength and speaking unknown languages. Some of Ralph Sarchie's most disturbing cases, and this is just a handful, was he witnessed the possession of Dominic, a woman referred to as, I suppose it's Dominique or Dominic, I don't know, whatever you want. I'm not judging. Which she was allegedly possessed by a powerful demonic entity. She displayed inhuman strength and spoke in an ancient language. She showed violent reactions to religious symbols, and he was present at her exorcism. And he said that during her exorcism, the room's temperature dropped like immediately, like not imminently, but instantly. It just suddenly dropped. Objects were moved around in front of his very eyeballs. He was also involved in a case called The Unnatural Child. He investigated a young boy exhibiting disturbing behaviour. The family reported that he was seen speaking to an unseen entity. He became unexpectedly violent. I mean, it sounds sounds a bit like me, to be honest. I speak to inanimate objects and unseen entities. He said that Saatchi said that he witnessed shadow figures in the home. He felt a dark presence as soon as he entered the property. And after the exorcism, the paranormal activity ceased and the child's behaviour returned to normal. He was involved in a case called the Cursed Amulet, which I won't go into. It's more of the same, like, you know, unseen forces attacking, marks, things moving. The movie versus the real story. In the film, it says that, or Saatchi says that Deliver Us from Evil took creative liberties. Creative liberties with Saatchi's actual experiences. So I suppose, like every film, like you said earlier, it's dramatized, and that's the bit that he was like, well, I mean, it wasn't as dramatic as that, but yes, it did happen. But yeah, he says for the most part the film was accurate. It was just highly dramatized for our watching and viewing pleasure. Saatchi is now retired from NYPD, but he continues his work as a demonologist, which I thought was quite cool. He is a strong advocate for spiritual protection, exorcism practices, and awareness of the dangers of the occult. So good on you, Saatchi. Then we've got the Conjuring. So most people that indulge in movies and horror movies will know of the Conjuring, whether you've seen it or not. The story of the Perron family is something that 100% I will cover this as a separate episode, because it just fascinates me. The whole backstory of what happened before they had this experience. Yeah, it's mind blowing to me, but it's such a big story. There's so much backstory to it. But I absolutely will cover it. So the Perron's family haunting inspired The Conjuring, which came out in 2013. Another case that was investigated by Ed and Lorraine Warren. The family's experience lasted nearly a decade in the 18th century Rhode Island farmhouse. Reported ghostly apparitions, unexplained noises, and violent attacks. So the Perron family moved into the farmhouse in January 1971, and they consisted of Roger and Carolyn Perron. And yeah, it was a massive house. It was a 14-room farmhouse in Harrisville in Rhode Island. The Arnold estate, as it was built in 1736, and it sat on 200 acres of farmland. And to be honest, that sounds like my dream house. You know, malevolent spirits or not.
Although I think you'd enjoy the malevolent spirits.
I was just about to say, yeah, you took the words out of my mouth there. I think I'd actually kind of, if I got there and it was just all quiet and silent, I'd be like, no. Where are ghosts at? Yeah, Tom, get me. The Perrons had 5 daughters. Andrea, who was 12, Nancy, 10 years old, Christine, 9, Cynthia, 8, and April, 5. And they were completely unaware of the home's dark history. But they soon encountered unexplained phenomena. Initially, the occurrences were subtle, like small objects moved or disappeared without explanation, doors opened and closed on their own, a floral scent sometimes filled the air. But I mean, that's kind of nice, isn't it? If you leave the door open, door shuts by itself. You haven't even got to get up. You don't need air freshener.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, how nice. But then it did take a bit of a turn. The younger daughters said that they saw friendly spirits, including that of a spirit called Manny, who was believed to be a ghostly farmhand. And then they started hearing disembodied voices, loud knocks and bangs, whispers. They began seeing shadowy figures that would move through the house. Carolyn Perron felt unseen hands that would pinch and slap her, and like not in a nice way. One night she was completely like thrown from top to bottom down the stairs. One of the daughters awoke to see a spirit with a disfigured face hovering over her bed, and they believed that she was suffering with some kind of possession or sleep paralysis. The girls, a lot of the girls would often experience this sleep paralysis that happened. They were unable to move or scream. And the most malevolent entity was believed to be that of Bathsheba Sherman. And Bathsheba was rumored to be a witch in the 19th century. Legend claimed that she sacrificed an infant to the devil and was cursed to haunt the house. Carolyn saw an apparition of a woman with a crooked neck, rotted flesh, and black, empty eyes. Bathsheba allegedly warned Carol and said, "Get out or you will be killed." The Warrens investigated the haunting, and this was in 1974. Carolyn Perron contacted Ed and Lorraine and said, "Help." Lorraine Warren, a clairvoyant, claimed that she instantly felt a very dark presence as soon as she entered the house. The Warrens believed that Bathsheba had cursed the land, leading to all the hauntings. They conducted seances and cleansing rituals to remove any negative energy. However, during one of the seances, the events turned violent. Carolyn became possessed, speaking in tongues. She was thrown across the room by an unseen force. The children screamed as their mother lashed and convulsed on the floor. And one of the Perron's daughters later described this particular night as, quote, "one of the most terrifying nights of my life," end quote. Despite the Warrens' intervention, the paranormal activity continued. The Perrons could not afford to move, so they had to stay there all the way through until 1980. After leaving, apparently the hauntings stopped. Andrea Perron later wrote a 3-volume memoir called The House of Darkness, House of Light, documenting their experiences. And I believe that I think this was the book. That it's a really big book and it's really expensive, really difficult to get. And I believe that it was the book that I bought for my sister like a good few years ago. I can't remember, but Tess, tell me if this is the book that I'm thinking of.
If it is, send it back, because it'd be great for an episode.
Yeah, I think probably in the first few months of us starting the podcast, all those years ago, I spoke to Tess and I said, have you finished reading that book, and can you put some notes together, because it's massive, this book. Can you put some notes together, because I would love to do this as an episode. But yeah, it'll be a big episode, but yeah, so that's the backstory behind the Conjuring episode by Perplexed, still to come.
Pending.
Although
let me just touch on one thing, because for those that don't know, we did do an episode about sleep paralysis.
Mm.
So if you don't know what sleep paralysis is, it basically is it's a medical thing where you are half awake but your body isn't. So you feel pinned, you feel frozen, you feel as if there's a pressure or someone sitting on you. And people often mistake it for something that's called the night hag. And that is an episode that we covered. And
episode 10.
Well done.
Episode 10.
Episode 10.
Give it a listen, because I think the title is The Old Hag.
Oh, okay, yeah.
On that. But yeah, it's I think that was your episode, wasn't it? And it, like, you really go into a lot of detail of like people's experiences with the night hag or the old hag, the hag.
Yeah. Is it sleep paralysis or is it the old hag? It could just be Bathsheba going around sitting on everybody.
Well, I hope not. Never know, do you?
No.
We don't know. But yeah, so episode 10, there's another recommendation. Listen to the old hag or the old bitch or whatever it is we called it. It's super creepy, but it's really interesting. But all right. Next, we've got 2012 movie The Possession. And this is based on the Dybbuk Box, which is episode 9. So, yeah, go back and watch.
The Dybbuk Box was actually really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
It was a really good episode, because I don't generally pay any sort of like heed to these sort of haunted boxes, haunted dolls, haunted things like that. But actually, the reason that we cover these is because some of them are very compelling.
Yeah, it's the name is in the title, isn't it? It's Perplexed. Yeah. It's things that we're like, oh, I don't believe in that.
I don't think so, but maybe.
Yeah. How do you explain that? And how do you explain this? And yeah, it's we just feel the need to talk about it. And many thousands of you believe that as well. Because you want to know.
You are all as equally perplexed as we are.
Yeah. So The Possession, 2012, the Dybbuk Box. So this is what this film is based on. And I haven't seen it. I did the episode on the Dybbuk Box and I haven't seen the film The Possession. So I'm going to have to watch that now. But for those of you that haven't listened to the Dybbuk Box, or for those of you that have, just want a little recap. It's based on a story of Kevin Mannis, or that's certainly how it starts anyway. Kevin Mannis had an antique shop in Portland, Oregon. He purchased the box in a 2001 estate sale from a lady that had passed away. The box came as like a package deal, so he wasn't just buying that. But the box originally belonged to a lady called Havala, who was 103 years old when she passed away. She was an old Jewish Holocaust survivor from Poland. Havala warned her family to never open the box, claiming that it contained a Dybbuk, and a Dybbuk is an evil spirit from Jewish folklore. The box was kept sealed and hidden, according to Havala's granddaughter. And Kevin opens the box.
Because he did say positively do not open.
If it positively do not open, thank you.
He wouldn't have opened it, would he?
He wouldn't have opened it, no, but it didn't. And he did, and he was curious, and yeah, he paid for it. But when he opened the box, it contained 2 wheat pennies from 1920, a lock of blonde and dark brown hair tied up with string, a small golden wine cup or goblet, a dried rosebud, a candle holder with octopus-shaped legs, a granite table with tablet with Hebrew inscriptions on it.
I'm gonna leave stuff like that in the house when we move.
I know. I
I'm
definitely want to do that. And the thing is, in our snug, we've got like in the side of the fireplace, there's like little hidden cupboard doors.
Yeah.
That you can't really see. And I thought, do you know what? I can't wait to put some really weird shit in there.
Yeah.
Like when we go out on walks, we find things like we've found like rabbit skulls and things like that. Yeah, I'm gonna like tamper with them a little bit and put them in there so that people will find it and go, oh my god, there's a skull in here. Yeah, so Kevin opened the box and was like, what's all this shit in here? And then he started
out popped a Dybbuk.
Out popped a Dybbuk, smacked him right in the face. He experienced things like lights flickering, electronic devices malfunctioned. He began having nightmares of an old hag attacking him again. So this old hag comes into these things a lot, doesn't it?
He
gets about, yeah. So Kevin, not the best idea. He decided to gift this box to his poor old mum, and his poor old mum literally, like, he was like, happy birthday, gave her this Dybbuk box, not that he knew it was a Dybbuk box, gave her the Dybbuk box, and then said, oh, I'm just going to pop and answer the phone, I'll be back in a minute, and then we'll go out for some birthday lunch. His poor old mum literally had a stroke right there and then in front of this box. She says she knew that this was because of the box. She knew that something was in the box coming out and getting her. But she was okay. She recovered from the stroke. Kevin then thought, I need to get rid of this. So he put it on eBay in 2003 and listed it as a haunted Jewish wine cabinet box, which it was not. The listing went viral, attracting thousands of bidders, and it was bought by a student, and he then had it out at parties and when his mates gathered together and all that. So he had it as like this kind of, I don't know, centerpiece, party piece, yeah, something like that. And they all started playing with it, and then all their flat, their dorm, whatever it was, really began to smell really strong of like cat urine. One of his roommates started losing his hair, and became a complete recluse. All their laptops broke. The toaster in the kitchen kind of exploded and nearly caused a house fire. So he was like, we need to get rid of it. So he then whacked it back on eBay, and it was then bought by a guy called Jason Haxton, who was a museum curator and also a bit of a paranormal researcher. He just got constant illness from the moment he took delivery of the Dybbuk box. He began having great big welts on his body coming up. He saw shadowy figures. He had this overwhelming dread. He took it to the museum, and all their computers broke, and everyone that he worked with started becoming ill. They couldn't get any light bulbs to work. Every time they put it in, it would just blow. So he then took it home and stashed it away, I think like in a basement or in a garden shed or something like that. But yeah, and he said like never to be opened again. And then it fell into the glorious hands of Zak Bagans, and that is where the Dybbuk box is today. So in 2017, paranormal investigator Zak Bagans acquired the box and put it in his haunted museum in Las Vegas. Little snippet of information. Post Malone, the rapper, apparently touched the Dybbuk box, probably in a bit of a Sarah moment of like, yeah, I don't believe in that, but I'll touch it because, show that I don't care. He touched it, and he then had to get on a plane to go, I don't know, home, somewhere else. And something malfunctioned with the plane, and it had to make an emergency landing, something that's never happened to him before. He was then, his home was then robbed. So he was part of a home invasion type robbery thing. And then he got in a near fatal car accident. So then he was like, he went back to Zach Baggins and was like, can you fix it? Can you do something about it? Because I touched it and I shouldn't have done. So that was a bit of a whoopsie. So that's the Dybbuk book story. So I'll have to go and watch that film because I haven't seen it. Next story is the story. It's not so much a haunting type story, but it's the story that led me to do this episode. And if you believe it, I couldn't believe it. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Based on a true story. And I was like, surely not.
Surely
not, Sarah. But yeah, believe it or not, A Nightmare on Elm Street, film that came out in 1984, was inspired by a real life phenomenon. And this is what led me to go, what? I got to find out more. So the inspiration for the film started in the late 1970s. And it was Wes Craven who wrote and created A Nightmare on Elm Street. He came across all these articles in the news that detailed this mysterious medical condition that affected young male Southeast Asian refugees, primarily from Cambodia and Vietnam.
I actually came across this story when I was researching
old
hag. Yeah, so I know about these these people and their sleep and things like that, but I did not know that it was tied to this film.
No, but I mean, he went into a massive amount of research about this, and what was happening, what this phenomena was that these were refugees that have fled war and genocide, only to experience horrendous nightmares and then sudden unexplained death, but only ever in their sleep. Mm-hmm. So it was like as soon as they went to sleep, they'd have these horrendous nightmares and be
something was happening,
kicking and lashing and no, and then boom, dead. And the condition was later identified as something called sudden
unexpected,
which is SUNDS.
nighttime death syndrome or something.
Yeah, and it was literally like these people were just going to sleep and then just never woke up. By 1981, 26 cases were reported in the US, and even more were being documented in Southeast Asia. And this is what started it. And it was basically the explanation for this SUNDS was Brugada syndrome, which is where it's a genetic heart disorder that can cause sudden cardiac arrest. Another reason for SUNDS was post-traumatic stress. Many of the victims were refugees who had endured extreme stress from war and genocide. And then another possible explanation for SUNDS was cultural beliefs. So they said that spirits or demons would attack the sleepers. And this particular cause or explanation for SUNDS was what Craven honed in on. And he was like, that is intriguing. I'm going to give a creation of sons in a monster form, because, you know, it's terrifying. And that's when he created Freddy Krueger. So Freddy Krueger was a visual
like representation
of
this.
Representation of the illness sons. And it was everything. It was like these guys, these men, refugees, they were scared to go to sleep. They were taking any kind of supplement or medication or anything that they could get their hands on to stop them from going to sleep, because they believed that as soon as they went to sleep, they would be attacked by this demon and it would kill them in their dream, and then as a result kill them in real life. And so A Nightmare on Elm Street was born.
Wow.
Still to this day, I still can't watch it, you know.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It terrified me as a kid, and I had like older sister, you know, an older sister that was like, yeah, this is really cool, I'm going to watch it. And I was obviously way too young, but I was like, I want to be with you and I want us to watch horror films together, which is something that we still do to this day. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street was one of the first horror films that I ever sat with my sister and watched, and it still scares me to this day. The next one was Hellraiser, and I absolutely cannot watch that.
Oh, yeah, I've not seen them.
Yeah, it just puts me in a funny headspace. But yeah, so that is my episode for today. Freddy Krueger, possibly real, you know.
Perhaps.
Yeah,
real for some people.
Yeah, and he had quite a chain of people under his belt, taken loads of people out. If it is him doing it, there you go.
Oh, that was really cool.
Yeah, cool. My next episode is not going to be so easy going, but it's a big one.
Yeah, we've got some big ones in the pipeline that we are currently writing. So you've got some smaller, easier episodes in the meantime while we write these bigger episodes.
Oh yeah. It's gonna. We've got some really, really good ones coming up.
Yep.
And I'm gonna crack on with writing it. So yeah, I better go.
Great.
All right. Well,
thank you very much.
Hope you all have a great day.
Goodbye.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye. If you have enjoyed listening to our episodes, make sure you rate us and leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening.
We absolutely love hearing from you guys. So you can also help support our show by donating to our Buy Me a Coffee link. We will make sure that you get a massive shout out and a big thank you in our next week's episode.
You can also follow us on social media at Perplexed Podcasts. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and if you want to see more videos and blooper reels, subscribe to our TikTok and YouTube channels.
You can also email us your stories at perplexedpodcasts@gmail.com.
And you can find all the relevant links in the episode descriptions. Thanks for listening. Bye.